Well, nobody was injured when a glider made an emergency landing at the Harris Hill driving range in Big Flats over the weekend. Our very own Lindsay Madison spoke with a pilot at Harris Hill Soaring about what happened and what pilots do in emergency situations like that. Lindsay?
Nick, police say the incident happened because the glider pilot and the flying student weren't able to get low enough to safely land on the runway at Harris Hill. Now, I spoke with Michael Goldstein, a pilot with Harris Hill Soaring, who says they plan to land on the runway, but that can't always happen. So it's always good to have a backup plan. According to the Chemung County Sheriff's Office, the glider was piloted by a 67-year-old certified sailplane instructor with a 14-year-old girl who was a flying student taking a lesson. When the pilot discovered he couldn't make the runway, he attempted an emergency landing at the Harris Hill driving range nearby. During the landing attempt, he temporarily lost control of the glider, causing it to tip and damaging the wing and nose of the aircraft. According to a private pilot with Harris Hill Soaring, pilots train for all sorts of scenarios, including emergency landings.
We train for this. As you know, gliders don't have an engine, so you only have one shot at landing on the runway up at Harris Hill. And so we do a lot of training for situations which we might be too high above the runway, maybe too low, or even too far away from the airport to safely make it back.
Goldstein says pilots don't fly if it's raining or if it's too windy. He says at a minimum, to become an instructor, you need your private pilot license with 100 flights pilot in command, 25 hours of flight and glider time, you have to be 18 years old or older, and you have to pass an FAA written exam. Goldstein says during training, pilots come up with backup plans to know which areas are safe to land at in case of an emergency. He also says people openly talk about past incidents and how they can do a better job in the future.
Let's say a strong wind picked up and you're having a hard time, you're in a lightweight racing glider, maybe you're having a harder time making it back to the field. You're always going to have a plan B in your head. You're always in the back of your head thinking, I could land there.
Goldstein says Harris Hill Soaring is conducting its own investigation, and the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are conducting its own investigation into Saturday's incident. Goldstein says the goal is to find out all of the decisions that led to that landing.